welcome to the Movie Reception Show. I am Fariba, and we're just about to watch the third episode of She-Hulk. I mean, as we kind of remember from the last episode, they were trying to kind of set up the direction of Jennifer's story in terms of just who she's facing, what obstacles she's going to encounter moving forward. And as we remember from the last episode, the way it ended, she took the case that Emil Blonsky, wanted her to be involved in, only to see that, well, heck, there's a bombshell of basically the scene from the Shang-Chi film where they're at that cage fight scene. So definitely going to be an interesting thing going forward, how Emil and Jennifer are going to interact and kind of see how the public perception is going to be moving forward, and how that's going to affect Jennifer as both like a lawyer, but also kind of how it's going to affect her personal life, right? I mean, I don't think we're going to see Bruce Banner in this episode because he is kind of busy off-where in the cosmic world, probably, going to Sakaar. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started with the third episode of She-Hulk.
Anymore.
No, I said I choose not to. These were extenuating circumstances.
You understand that this constitutes another crime and totally destroyed
Myself, but I returned on my own free will.
Who forced you to escape this insanely high security prison undetected?
A sorcerer supreme of the mystic arts, and his name is
Wong.
Just Wong, and his internet presence is a little chaotic. You can't wait to see Wong. I get it. I just want to make sure that you don't think this is one of those cameo every week type of shows. But it's not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Except Bruce. And Blonsky. And Wong. Just remember whose show this actually is.
Oh, snap. Okay. Oh, man. All the trolls are going to be so happy about this, I swear.
Female heroes. I'm just saying, make your own for that job.
The light elf from New Asgard.
Wow, Dennis.
Okay. Well, to be fair, I thought I was dating Megan Thee Stallion.
I'm sorry, what? Sorry, you thought you were dating Megan Thee Stallion?
Well, that answers everything.
Grammy Award winner, megastar Megan Thee Stallion?
Oh, part of Shapeshifter, did you not get it?
So it was just a shapeshifter, okay.
Or you see, this is why I don't want Walters.
Oh, there's Wong.
Receive your message.
Mr. Wong.
Huh?
Everything Mr. Blonsky told you is factual. I extracted him from the prison against his own wishes because I required a worthy opponent as part of my training to become Sorcerer Supreme. And as Sorcerer Supreme, I insist that he not be punished for my actions.
Again, I am not the one who will be punishing him. The parole board will not release him after seeing this video.
I know what you're thinking, Miss Walters. I'm not erasing everyone's memories, not again.
That's not what I was thinking. That is highly unethical.
Oh my.
Also, very messy, believe me.
Again? Wait, did he use that spell before too?
No.
Shadow Dimension.
What you can do to help is show up at the hearing and explain everything.
Very well. What was their sorcery for strategy B?
Don't have your
100.
200.
100,000. I am not a fool. No, it's more like 175. $175,000. What's up, bro?
How's it hanging, man? I got a change of heart. I'm gonna drop the case.
Wait. Just now?
The truth is, I think somewhere deep inside.
That's gotta be the shapeshifter,
You
right?
know? I did those things because I wanted to. I was just embarrassed to get found out in such a public way. But at some point in time, you gotta take personal responsibility.
That sounds like the shapeshifter.
Well, I love harassing women in the workplace.
That also sounds like the shapeshifter.
Not cool. Let that be a war.
I don't.
Rumors have been rejected by the Avengers.
Oh my. Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Are those your soulmates?
Oh, yeah. What's wrong about?
Oh yeah. Yeah, as if it's not the Thunderbolts, okay.
We are here today to determine whether Emil Blonsky is suitable for return.
Solely on redemption. I have changed. Emotionally, physically, metaphysically, spiritually, karmically, cosmically, interdimensionally.
Etc. What Mr. Blonsky is trying to say is that the man you see before you is not the same Emil Blonsky as before. All he wants now is to be a contributing member of society.
If really.
My soulmates. We met through the prison pen pal program. They are my better eights. Love you.
Oh, that looks so bad.
I don't think we need to get into that any further. Any other questions?
Oh, lots of questions.
Blonsky started a prison literacy program.
Teachers are never useful in court.
Your Honor, this case is very cut and dry. My client was defrauded of $175,000 by a scam artist. He deserves compensation for the financial and emotional trauma that he has suffered.
My client and Mr. Bukowski were in a consensual relationship.
Force is not necessary.
As you can see, I'm in full control.
That's enough! Change back now!
Please, ladies and gentlemen, I beg you to forgive Mr. Blonsky's enthusiasm. He didn't intend to frighten
This is like
anyone.
going all wrong.
In fact, this proves that in
I must depart.
Of course you would.
Nominations, baby.
What?
Yeah.
God, Dennis Bukowski.
Oh, yeah, no, you're gonna need that.
he once described himself as a New York 10 and an LA 11. He nicknamed his office the Dentisphere.
Objection. Relevance. Mr. Bukowski.
Oh.
No, lying.
That's right. There's only one.
Oh, there she is.
Hey, do you guys think I have a shot with the real Megan Thee Stallion? Should I go back?
No, please don't do that.
Spare us, you're coach.
Just stay out of the news. That's all I ask. I don't want to read any more stories about either of us.
Well, you might want to reconsider that. I mean, they're going to write a story about you one way or the other. Better stay part of it, really.
Oh, wait. Get off me.
If you're gonna strut around showing off your powers, you better be able to back it up.
You guys rob an Asgardian construction worker?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Sorry. Okay, bad idea. Fall back. Go, fall back.
Okay, fellas, I admit that did not go exactly as I imagined it. Thunderball, did you get it? No.
Once you turned into She-Hulk, I couldn't pierce that nasty green skin.
Damn it. Bob's gonna be mad.
Hey, there's my new favorite client. Just
Oh, hey.
and then just initial. Good. And initials up here.
Oh my. Okay.
You are way more fun than my last lawyer. I will kill for you, Megan Thee Stallion. Dial it back.
The third episode of She-Hulk. So in general, like, it doesn't seem like the usual sitcom style that we usually get when it comes to, like, you know, comedies. When it comes to just the series so far, like, you can tell it's just kind of an extended version of, like, a movie if it were to have been, like, a 4 or 5 hour film trying to put in every single story plot into the series, right? So right now we still haven't really gotten to the big parts of Jennifer's story, aside from the fact that, okay, we got her origin story, which was really, really important, which, again, I thought the first episode was great. Then the second episode, it's kind of like showing the direction of where her story will be going, and it was like related to Emil, and so it's kind of like, okay, that's a great way to kind of show the direction of where to go. But here it's kind of like, it just definitely felt like a bit more of a not slow episode, but it just didn't really go too many places, aside from like maybe just the fact that Wong showed up. And I think that's the only big part about this episode, is that it just showed it just showed like this part of the story arc that kind of was necessary, but also wasn't really necessary, unless, again, if this episode is going to be a really big part of just kind of developing the story that we already have, then we have to assume that Emil's going to be a very big player, that the Asgardian shapeshifter is going to be a big player, or the fact that Wong, who just showed up, is going to be a big player, right? I mean, there's literally a scene where even, She-Hulk says, like, oh, this is going to be a show where we're going to have, like, cameos for each episode. It's like, okay, cool. If that's the case, I'm going to assume that we're going to see more of Wong, maybe? I don't know. Like, from that episode, it sounds like he might not, that might be it for him in terms of his appearances in the show. We don't know yet, but as of, like, in terms of just this episode, it definitely felt more kind of, not filler. I mean, it kind of goes on the edge of being a filler episode, because there really wasn't too much going on in terms of just, like, Jennifer's story. I think for this one, like, I definitely didn't really get a gist of that, aside from, like, yeah, maybe in the end of this episode, we did see the part where she was attacked, or they tried to attack her. It does bring some intrigue into, like, what is going on, who are those gang, I guess you can say gang, I get like, the guys who tried to ambush her. What is their deal? Who are they working for? Why are they trying to inject this sort of serum into her, which, of course, like, they weren't able to do successfully, but I'm going to assume that maybe they work for Titania, or maybe, who knows. We haven't, and speaking of that, we still haven't seen Titania in the third episode. We're now in the third episode. I think so far all that we've seen is like 30 seconds of Titania in this show, which is really weird, because if you think about it, like, Titania was kind of depicted as the villain of the series, and yet we didn't really get to see her as of yet, or we don't really know who she is yet. And I mean, I'm going to assume that maybe, hopefully, by the next episode, we're going to see more of her, or get an idea of who she is, why she, broke into the court in the first place, what happened to her right after, or I'm going to assume maybe she may have escaped, or, gone on bond or something, I don't know. But definitely felt like this was a bit of an underwhelming episode, in my opinion, just because it didn't really go too many places. Aside from, like, maybe, who knows, maybe a Blonsky story might be a big part somehow. Because again, like, it's really hard to tell where the series is going, right? And then on top of that, it's just kind of like, okay, we still see Jennifer kind of trying to balance it out, right? But it's kind of like, okay, but I'm not really seeing the growth as of yet, which I hope maybe by the next episode. I mean, as a third episode, I'm going to let this kind of pass for, like, okay, maybe it was just needed for the sake of development, and maybe perhaps if that is the case, then I hope that hopefully this will be kind of not the catalyst, but just, turning the things up a little bit. Because again, I didn't really see much going on in this episode. It was just kind of, okay, we have a court scene, that's about it, but it wasn't as, like, as flourishing or as amazing as it should have been. But yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, I this would have been an episode I could have just been like, okay, if I'd known that this is how the episode would have been, gone in terms of just the story, I probably would have watched it later in the day and not having to stay up at like 3 a.m. in the morning. But it's okay. But yeah, just a bit of an underwhelming episode, in my opinion, just because there wasn't really anything going on except from, like, just the comedy stuff. But I really hope that they start really to pick up the story maybe by next week, because, again, this is a 9-episode series. I mean, we're only in episode 3, and it kind of, I'm starting to kind of sense where it's like, okay, maybe we're at the phase where 9 episodes might be too long. I hope I'm wrong about this, because the last thing I want is to see that, okay, having complained about the fact that we've had 6 episode series where they've gone too fast, haven't really developed anything. Now we're in that part of just that idea that, okay, well, now we have 9 episodes, but somehow things are going a bit too slow. Haven't really been getting to the point of the story as of yet. Although, again, I hope maybe this episode was kind of just giving a bit more of like that direction a little bit, and not just like something that was more of a filler. But yeah, that's all I really had to say. I mean, again, I think it's a decent episode for what it is. I would have expected more, of course. Maybe, like, I guess maybe if they were going to have this Emil versus the people court scene, maybe I would have wanted a bit more substance out of it. Because, again, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it seems like, for one thing, it was a quick trial. That seemed pretty, or a quick parole hearing, which seemed pretty, quick. And then also for the fact that, like, the whole testimonies and all that were also kind of, I mean, again, you don't want to go through like a whole 30-minute segment of just people, giving testimonies, but I feel like there could have been a bit more to it, especially in more sitcom style. But it's all right. Again, I just hope that maybe by next week we'll start to really pick things up. I'm going to assume, I know there's been a lot of talks about the 4th episode is going to be a really, really good one that a lot of people might like. I think one of the writers or directors had mentioned this. I'm going to assume that that's going to be hinting about a possible Devil's of Hell's Kitchen reference right there, maybe. So I'm already kind of at least going to be a bit optimistic about next week's episode. So I'm going to keep it at that. But yeah, let me know what you think about this episode. Were you kind of a bit, underwhelmed a little bit, just kind of the pacing so far with this episode compared to what we've seen so far? We're already in the 3rd episode, so like, do you think things will actually start to kind of take a turn maybe by next week? What else do we really have now that we kind of established who Jennifer is? We're still kind of in the early phases. Do you think that maybe by the end of the series that we're going to get kind of a fulfilling conclusion, hopefully? What were your favorite scenes from this episode? I mean, was it great seeing Emil and Wong in this episode? What are some things that you probably thought maybe you could have wanted more of? Let me know in the comments down below, and make sure to like and subscribe.